Hello everyone. This is 27th October session of the Hindu newspaper analysis in which we will discuss mainly four issues. The first issue is related to IUCN World Heritage Outlook Report 2025 and second issue is related to India ASEAN Summit. Third issue is related to India Nepal economic ties and fourth issue is related to fugitive economic offenders at 2018. So let's discuss all the issues in detail. In this session, we will discuss IUCN World Heritage Outlook Report for what this report says about Kaziranga National Park, Western Ghat, Manas National Park, Sundarban National Park. Why in news? The IUCN World Heritage Outlook 4 report assesses the conservation status of natural World Heritage sites. Its findings show that nearly two-thirds have a stable or improving outlook, but climate change poses a major threat to over 80% of natural sites. For India, Kanchenjunga National Park is rated good. IUCN means International Union for Conservation of Nature. But Western Ghat, Manas National Park, and Sundarban National Park are rated as significant concern due to issues like habitat loss, poaching, climate change, and urbanization. About IUCN World Heritage Outlook 4, what is it? Uh, what it is? The IUCN World Heritage Outlook is a global assessment system that evaluates the state of conservation of all UNESCO Natural World Heritage sites every 3 to 5 years. Published by It is released by the IUCN through its World Heritage Program and World Commission on Protected Areas WCPA. Launched in the fourth edition, Outlook 4 launched in Abu Dhabi at the IUCN World Conservation Congress 2025. Previous editions were published in 2014, 2017, and 2020. Aim: track conservation health, monitor how effectively natural World Heritage sites are managed and conserved, identify threats, provide early warning signals for sites facing degradation, climate threat, or governance gap. Key summary of the IUCN World Heritage Outlook 4 Global Trend. Nearly two-thirds, about 65% of World Heritage sites show a stable or improving conservation outlook since 2020. Climate threat. Over 80% of natural sites face direct climate risks like coral bleaching, glacier melt, and wildfires, posing severe ecological and cultural challenges. For example, Great Barrier Reef, Australia, continues to experience bleaching events despite management upgrades. Biodiversity pressure. Around 60% of sites are under stress from invasive species, habitat loss, and overexploitation, particularly in tropical ecosystems. Warning signal. Around 15 sites were added to the World Heritage in Danger list, reflecting a rise in conflict-linked habitat loss and pollution in fragile ecosystems. Trends in India. Total sites. India has 7 natural and mixed World Heritage sites representing over 1.5% of global natural heritage area. Improved sites. Kaziranga and Manas so enhanced ecological health through anti-poaching patrols, habitat restoration, and ecotourism regulation backed by local community involvement. At risk site, Sundarban declining mangrove health due to salinity, cyclones, and sea level rise, while Western Ghat face mining, construction, and land use conflicts. Emerging concern. Nanda Devi and Great Himalayan National Park face glacier retreat and invasive species, long-term hydrological impact on the Ganga Basin, policy integration. The Wildlife Protection Amendment Act 2022 and Life Mission. Life means lifestyle for environment are recognized as the strong national commitment aligning with KMGBC 2030 goals. Funding and data gaps. The report noted that India's protected area requires 30 to 40% more funds for effective monitoring, particularly in marine and transboundary zones. Why has IUCN Red flagged the Western Ghat? The Western Ghat, a mosaic of forest and grassland, are older than the Himalayas and have a high level of biological diversity and endemism. It is habitat to some 325 globally threatened listed in IUCN Red List. Flora, fauna, birds, amphibians, reptiles, and fish species according to UNESCO. This includes the Nilgiri thar, a stocky, agile goat found nowhere else on in the earth. What makes the Western Ghat vulnerable? The Western Ghat are highly endangered due to number one hundreds of hydropower projects such as the proposed rupees 5,843 crore Sillabala pumped storage hydroelectric project in Nilgiri. This involved construction dam across river Sillahala and river Kundha to generate about 1000 megawatt of power to Tamil Nadu's plain. Number two, tourism. Tourism is a creating problem of garbage, often consumed by wild animals such as elephant and exacerbating conflicts. Number three, plantations. Plantations are replacing natural ecosystems. Number four, climate change has also impacted natural ecosystems. Number five, exotic species are colonizing natural forests such as eucalyptus and acacia, both originally uh, from Australia, which were introduced here during the colonial era. This is graphical representation of conservation outlook of sites in 2014, 17, 20, 2025 for the 228 sites for which data is available. In this session, we will discuss about ASEAN India Summit 2025. This was 47th ASEAN Summit and 22nd ASEAN India Summit. Why news? The 22nd ASEAN India Summit took place on October 26, 2025 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, alongside the 47th ASEAN Summit. Indian Prime Minister participated virtually, announcing 2026 as the ASEAN India Year of Maritime Cooperation. ASEAN means Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Key highlights from the summit. Number one, virtual participation. Indian Prime Minister addressed the summit virtually from New Delhi. Number two, expansion of ASEAN. Leaders welcomed Timor-Leste as the 11th member of ASEAN. Number three, maritime cooperation. To boost joint efforts in maritime security and the blue economy, Indian Prime Minister declared 2026 as the ASEAN India Year of the Maritime Cooperation. Number four, comprehensive strategic partnership. Both India and ASEAN reviewed the progress of their comprehensive strategic partnership, which was elevated to this status in 2022. Number 5. Review of FTA. Prime Minister emphasized the need for an early review of the ASEAN-India Free Trade Agreement (AITIGA) to unlock the full economic potential of the relationship. Number 6. Combating terrorism. Prime Minister highlighted terrorism as the major threat to global peace and security, stressing the importance of a unified fight against it. Number 7. ASEAN's centrally and Indo-Pacific vision. India reiterated its support for ASEAN's central role and its outlook on the Indo-Pacific. Number 8. Joint Statement on Tourism. The member states adopted a joint leaders statement on sustainable tourism to mark 2025 as the ASEAN-India Year of Tourism. Number 9. Strengthening ties. India-ASEAN strategic partnership continues to advance despite global uncertainties, describing ASEAN as a cultural partner. The evolution of India-ASEAN relations. Look East Policy 1990s. India initiated this policy after the Cold War to strengthen economic and strategic ties with Southeast Asian nations. It also primarily driven by economic liberalization. Next, Act East Policy 2014 onwards. This policy was upgraded to the Look East Policy, transforming India's approach to proactive multidimensional engagement. This policy focuses on the four C's: commerce, connectivity, culture, capacity building. Commerce, boosting trade and investment. Connectivity, improving physical, digital, and people to people link. Culture, promoting strong historical and civilizational ties. Capacity building, providing technical and development assistance. Comprehensive Strategic Partnership 2022. This upgrade on the 30th anniversary of the relationship depend cooperation across multiple domains as trade, connectivity, and defense. Significance of ASEAN for India. Number one, economic importance. ASEAN is India's fourth largest trading partner, with bilateral trade reaching $122.67 billion in 2023-24. It is a major export market and a significant source of FDI. Number two, strategic counterbalance. India-ASEAN partnership serve as a strategic counterweight to China's growing influence in the Indo-Pacific. It reinforces India's Act East policy and its vision for a free and open Indo-Pacific. Number three, maritime security. Cooperation in maritime security, including joint naval exercise in the South China Sea, is vital for ensuring freedom of navigation and a rule-based order. This aligns with the India's Sagar. Sagar means security and growth for all in a region. Number four, Northeast connectivity. Connectivity projects such as the India-Myanmar-Thailand trilateral highway and the Kaladan multimodal transit transport project are crucial for the integrating India's northeastern state with Southeast Asia. Key areas of cooperation between India and ASEAN. Number one, connectivity. Development of physical infrastructure like highways, ports, and air link, along with the digital infrastructure, is a priority. Number two, trade and investment. Cooperation focus on enhancing trade under the ASEAN-India Free Trade Agreement and boosting investment. Number three, defense and security. Joint military exercises, intelligence sharing, and cooperation on anti-piracy and counter-terrorism initiatives are key. Number four, digital connectivity and innovation. Collaborating on emerging technology like AI and cybersecurity leverages India's IT strengthens and benefit Asia's digitization economies. Number five, socio-cultural ties. People-to-people exchanges, cultural festivals, and educational programs strengthen historical bonds which are rooted in shared religious and cultural heritage. Number six, below economy and sustainability. Cooperation includes maritime resources management, sustainable fisheries, and collaborative research in green hydrogen and renewable energy. Major challenges in India-ASEAN relations. Number one, trade imbalance. India faces a persistent and widening trade deficit with ASEAN, which grew to $45.2 billion in 2024-25. This is driven by an asymmetric free trade agreement and non-tariff barriers. Number two, AITIGA issue. The ASEAN-India Trade in Goods Agreement is currently under review due to concern over non-tariff barriers, which allow Chinese goods to be routed through ASEAN countries. Number three, connectivity project delays. Key infrastructure projects like the India-Myanmar-Thailand trilateral highway face delays due to funding issues, security concerns, and political instability. Number four, geopolitical balancing. Some ASEAN countries are hesitant to align with India's strategic goal due to their significant economic dependence on China. This can limit the depth of security cooperation. Number five, different political instances. Different approaches to regional issues such as the Myanmar crisis create friction. India's pragmatic engagement with the military junta has contrasted with the ASEAN's diplomatic efforts. In this lecture, we will discuss about India-Nepal relations. India-Nepal relations are unique, characterized by deep-rooted cultural, historical, and geographical ties, an open border, and close people-to-people contact, known as a Roti Beti Ka Rishta. These ties are formalized by the 1950 Treaty of Peace and Friendship. However, the relationship has also seen challenges due to geopolitical shift, border disputes, and economic asymmetries. Foundation aspect. The 1950 Treaty of Peace and Friendship. This treaty granted Nepalese and Indian citizens reciprocal right to live and work in either country and own property. Number two, deep cultural and religious link. Both nations share similar traditions in Hinduism and Buddhism. Nepal is home to prominent pilgrim sites including Lumbini, the birthplace of Buddha, and Pashupatinath temple attracting many Indian pilgrims. Number three, strategic importance for India. Nepal share a 1,752 km open border with five Indian states such as Uttarakhand, UP, Bihar, West Bengal, and Sikkim. It acts as a buffer state against China and is crucial for India's national security. Number four, Gorkha regiments. India recruits Nepali citizens into its Gorkha regiment, a testament to their unique defense ties. Key areas of cooperation. The economic relations. India is Nepal's largest trading partner and its primary source of FDI. It provides essential import and transit access for Nepal's trade with other countries. Number two, connectivity and infrastructure. India has initiated several projects such as number one, a rail link, cross-border railway link connecting Jayanagar to Kurtha and Jogbani to Biratnagar pipeline. The Motihari Amlekunj petroleum pipeline is the first cross-border pipeline in South Asia. Number three, inland waterways. India provides Nepal access to India's inland waterways. Energy cooperation. Both nations have collaborated on multiple hydropower projects and have a power exchange agreement. India aims to import 10,000 megawatt of clean energy from Nepal over the next decade. Number four, development assistance. As Nepal's largest development partner, as Nepal largest development partner, India provide aid for grassroots infrastructure, health, education, and rural development. Number 5, humanitarian aid. As a disaster-prone region, Nepal is a major recipient of Indian humanitarian and disaster relief, as seen after the 2015 earthquake. Number 6, multilateral engagement. Both countries cooperate in regional forums like SARC. SARC means South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, and BIMSTEC, Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. Number 7, digital initiatives. India has extended its UPI mobile payment system to Nepal to boost digital connectivity. Challenges before India-Nepal relations. Number 1, border disputes. Issues persist over the territorial ownership of Kalapani, Lipulek, Lipiandura in Uttarakhand, and Sosta in Bihar, largely due to ambiguous colonial era maps and differing interpretations of the 1816 Shogoli Treaty. Number of treaty revision. Some sections in the Nepal view the 1950 Peace and Friendship Treaty as unequal and demand its review to reflect contemporary reality. This is a source of reputed fiction. Number 3, growing Chinese influence. China's increasing economic engagement, especially through the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI), which undermine India's strategic influence in Nepal. Number 4, trust deficit. A perception of Indian interference in Nepal's internal affairs, combined with delays in implementing Indian-backed projects, has created a trust gap. Number 5, 2015 blockade. The unofficial blockade imposed during the Madhesi protest over Nepal's new constitution triggered strong anti-India sentiment. Number 6, economic asymmetries. The huge trade deficit in India's favor creates a sense of economic overdependence in Nepal. Number 7, internal security. The open border, while fostering people to people contact, is also misusing for illicit activities like smuggling, human trafficking, and the movement of counterfeit currency and terror elements. In this session, we will discuss about Fugitive Economic Offenders Act 2018. Why in news? A Belgium court's ruling in extradition proceedings of Mehul Choksi, a prime accused in the Punjab National Bank scam, is an important development in India's efforts to bring him back to face trial. Mr. Choksi, who had fled India in 2018, has been the target of authorities to get him extradited. Economic offenders account for more than a third, 35% of all those extradited to India from all over the world over 2 decades. Extradition request made by India. Extradition requests are initiated for cases under investigation, under trial, or for convicted criminals. India has signed extradition treaties with 48 countries, territories, and has extradition arrangement with 12 countries. In the last 5 years, India has made 133 extradition requests. In 2024 alone, it made 39 requests, the highest in the 2020 to 2024 period. An analysis of persons extradited or deported by foreign government to India since 2002 show that 35% of them were sent back for economic offences such as financial fraud, cheating, and forgery. Fugitive Economic Offenders Act 2018. Fugitive Economic Offenders Act 2018, a law designed to deter individuals from evading Indian law by living outside the country. Key features of the Act. Number 1. Definition of a fugitive economic offender. Someone against whom an arrest warrant has been issued for specified offences involving rupees 100 crore or more, and who has left India or refused to return to avoid prosecution. Purpose: to deter economic offenders from evading the law and to allow for the confiscation of assets. Process. Number 1. A special code designated under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 receive an application from authorities to declare someone an FEO. Number 2. The code issues a notice to the individual to appear within a specific time, usually 6 weeks. Number 3. If the person appears, proceedings terminate. If they do not appear, they can be declared an FEO. Confiscation of assets. Property of a declared FEO can be confiscated and vested in the central government. Attachment of property. Authorities can provisionally attach property of an accused while the application is pending in court. Bar on civil claims. A declared FEO can be barred from filing or defending any civil claim in any court or tribunal. Appeal. Appeals against a special court order can be filed in a high court within 30 days. Thanks for watching this video.